Welcome back with a smiling face. Links to previous episodes are given in the video description, so don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video. Before I could reject him. Episode 2. Chapter 11. Alice's POV. Rick stared at me with an unreadable expression while I was being torn by several emotions. A mating bond is the most sacred bond for wolves. Once wolves find their mates, the male marks the female, after which the female marks the male. It can even happen together during the consummation. Once the mating is done, the bond is complete. They are bound for life. They share their life, feelings, mind, everything. Finding your true mate is a gift or a trap, depending on how you take it. No one is allowed to interfere in the mate bond. It is against the law. The male can claim the female, even if she is from his dreaded enemy's camp. Well? Now can I claim my mate? Lucian said impatiently. Rick held up his hand to stop him. You are in my territory. I will decide what happens, even if she is your mate, you cannot take her away without my approval. Lucian's green eyes flashed with anger. My mate and my brother glared at each other. Rick, please. I started to say. I bit my lips. This was not what I wanted. I had never felt so conflicted in my entire life. I wanted to avoid being with Lucian, but my wolf wanted him. You cannot stop me from claiming my mate, Rick. If you want war, I have come prepared for it. Lucian growled. He was about to shift. Very well, let's do this the old-fashioned way, or would you prefer guns? Rick warned, pointing his gun at Lucian. I heard the click, and I did something which I had never done before. I lost control. My wolf broke free from my bindings. My body cracked and reshaped itself as my clothes ripped off from my body. My eyes changed, teeth descended, claws protruded. A glance at Rick and a growl escaped from my lungs. Lana, my wolf, was in control. I broke through the wall of warriors, ignoring the gasp from Emma. Not able to control me. I lunged at Rick as the sound of firing echoed in the hall. The bullet ricocheted off the wall. Rick had accidentally fired the gun. The sound of gunfire agitated my wolf. Lana wanted his throat. Rick fell over, surprised. I stood over his chest, growling. He stared at me wide-eyed. Rabid, Lana growled. Mine. Don't touch my mate, Lana said, though only I could understand her. Suddenly, a strong pair of arms were gripping me, hauling me backwards. Lana thrashed around. Alice, stop! Lucian yelled. But I was not in control. Lana was. She wanted to rip off the throat of anyone who dared harm her mate. Even if he was my brother. I could not fight her anger. Despite my thrashing, Lucian was able to control me, pulling me away from Rick. As his scent and touch sunk into me, Lana calmed down. I stopped thrashing. He gently put me back on the ground, making sure I was facing him, not Rick. Hey beautiful, come here, he said huskily. Suddenly, I was overwhelmed with desire. Lucian was bending down on his one knee, encouraging me to approach him. Power emanated from him. I wanted to submit. He smiled and gently caressed me behind my ear, running his hand through my fur. I closed my eyes, enjoying his touch. "You are perfect," he whispered. Lana was calm now. The presence of her mate had mellowed her down. With horror, I realized I had almost killed my brother. "Alice! I know you are in there," Rick's voice boomed in my head while I struggled to take over control. I would never forgive myself if I had harmed Rick. "Rick, I am sorry," I cried. "Alice, it's okay, you were just protecting your mate, it's normal," he replied in my mind. "I need to talk to you now. Please follow me." I could have shifted right there, as I was in control now. Nudity is never an issue among wolves. We do not exactly go around prancing constantly. But due to shifting in groups, no one cares about nudity. Still, I wanted to avoid shifting in front of Lucian. I barely knew him. I padded towards one of the bedrooms. I shifted and pulled on one of the robes lying around. We keep robes and clothes all over the place in case someone shifted and lost their clothes. Rick followed soon after. He looked perplexed. "Alice, what's going on? I had no idea he was your mate." "I am sorry, Rick, I should have told you earlier, but everything happened so quickly. I could not think straight. I was not ready for this. Then suddenly I lost control and almost. I am so sorry." Tears sprung in my eyes again. He held my shoulders. "Alice, I have said it's okay, I know how mate bond works. I would have done the same for Linda. What do you want? Mate bond or whatever, if you do not want to go with him, there is no pressure. I will handle everything." What did I want? I wanted nothing to do with Lucian. I wanted him to stay away from me. I wanted to get back to my previous life. But none of that was possible now. I was going crazy, I was now a danger to my loved one. Years of learned self-control was shattered the day I met Lucian. Yet, I could not stay away from him. I craved for him. "I don't know, Rick, I don't know," I mumbled. Lucian's POV I watched in horror as she attacked Rick. She was powerful, an immensely powerful alpha. My wolf was proud of her. Her bloodlust. Here being protective for me was turning him on. But I had to stop her, otherwise, she would never forgive me for causing her brother's death. She was feral, ferocious, and a badass beast. My wolf would love to know this beast. Heck! I would love to know this creature. But now, I had to stop her. I held the beautiful brown wolf by its waist and hauled her back. She was strong and thrashed like mad. Probably, it would have been easier to manage her if I had shifted as well, but if I let my wolf take over, he would lose control and mark her. I was desperate to mark her, but not like this. She would need time. She had lived too long amongst humans, away from her pack. She had forgotten our ways. I will have to remind her. My feisty little mate. "Tell her she is perfect," Jake my wolf whispered to me. He was mesmerized, just like me. "You are perfect," I said as I rubbed her silky fur. She looked at me with her doleful hazel eyes. Then glanced at her brother. Rick had stood up, and he was looking at us with a dumbfounded expression. She padded into the house. "She is going to shift," Rick said, seeing my alarmed face. And she wants to talk to me, alone. My men will not harm you, I promise, but you must promise that you will not do anything either. We can talk through this, hopefully. Rick said stiffly. I could see he was shocked by the revelation that his sister was my mate. He could not stop me from taking her legally. I nodded. I waited. 5, 10, 15 minutes passed. I was getting impatient. My wolf was ready to jump out. I smelled her before I saw her. She was wrapped in a silk kimono robe. Her hair was open and floating around her. I never noticed they were that long. It almost reached her waist. Stock up her cupboard with robes, I reminded myself. She looked at me with an unreadable expression and spoke. I will go with you. My heart sang, my wolf danced in happiness and the colors seemed brighter. But I have few conditions, Alice added. Alice's POV, I was sitting opposite the most gorgeous man I had ever seen. His green eyes stared intently at me. He had folded back his black shirt up to his elbows and I could not stop admiring his hands, which were covered with taut muscles. Well, if you are done admiring me, can we proceed with the talk? He smirked, making a quotation symbol with his hand. I blushed. I do not think I have ever blushed in my life. We were seated in Rick's library/study. I had managed to convince Lucian to discuss our little arrangement. Rick's study was soundproof, which would prevent our conversation from leaking out. Rick was quite apprehensive to leave me alone with Lucian. But he would never hurt me, I knew. Mates did not hurt each other. I wasn't admiring you. I glared at him. His lips twitched, and he leaned closer and said softly, I can smell your arousal. Do not deny it. I blushed a shade deeper and cleared my throat. Let's stick to the agenda, I replied. A chuckle escaped from him. I continued. Look, about this mate thing. I don't believe in mate bonds. He raised an eyebrow. I have a life, a job which I love. I was going to add a fiancé as well, but with warriors and weapons already stationed from both sides, it could lead to bloodshed. I would explain it to him later. I reminded myself. I have worked off to get this job, 4 years of college, internship. I can't let it all go to waste. I huffed. He had propped his chin on his palm, elbow on the table, and he was staring at me with an amused expression that infuriated me further. Well, your wolf has chosen me, you will be my Luna. That is your true calling, he smirked. The look on his face said he was not open to arguing. He was the boss giving orders. No, I have worked hard for my job. You can't keep me locked up as your slave just waiting for you to return and… Well, I have a contract at my job, a notice period to serve. I can't just walk away from it. Your home is here now. Your job is here now. There are no contracts that will supersede what I want from you. Now, please stop arguing with me. His eyes burned into mine. I glared back at him. I refuse to sit at home and become your toy, that will drive me crazy. Do you want a crazy mate? Frankly, my mate is already driving me crazy. He sighed, brushing his hand through his hair. Look, I know you are an architect. There are ample job opportunities here. I own an architecture firm myself. You can work there, or you can start something of your own. Do whatever you want once you are settled as the Luna. I do not understand why you are staying away in London. Wolves need to be with a pack. I bit my lips. He was right. My wolf loves it when I am back with the pack. Anyway, I was in no mood to discuss my living arrangements with Lucian. I am not ready to be a Luna yet, we barely know each other. I know nothing about running a pack. I would be the most useless Luna ever. I muttered. That's something we can work on. We have our whole lives to get to know each other. How about starting now? He grinned. I shot him a look. What if we are incompatible? We are mates. We have been tailor-made for each other, sweetheart. We'll be more than compatible, trust me. He said, exasperated. He was getting impatient. He stood up from his chair and prowled towards me. Then, he leaned against the table and looked down at me from his towering height. Ever since I turned 18, I have been searching for you. Now that we have finally found each other, you want to let this go. Every wolf craves for its mate. Can't you feel it? Our bond? Our chemistry? I swallowed a lump. My brain had stopped functioning. I had these weird butterflies in my stomach. His musky scent was so near to me, it was intoxicating. No. I feel nothing, I said stubbornly. He sighed and looked down. You are very stubborn, wonder how your brother, an alpha, tolerates your defiance. He looked into my eyes. My brother doesn't make unreasonable demands. He is very understanding. So am I am quite a merciful alpha actually, he said with a smirk. Can't we? We can just reject each other. I said cautiously. His eyes turned dark, and he emanated anger. I could feel the heat radiation from his body. His eyes narrowed into slits. No. He rasped, you are mine. Only mine, is that clear? So, whatever hang-ups you have had, just get over it. I moved back, trying to melt myself into the chair. I felt genuine fear. His face relaxed a little, probably he smelled my fear. Tracing my jawline with his finger, he said, your wolf already loves me. It would not be protecting me and ready to slit her brother's throat otherwise. I explored the dark expanse of the green eyes, but I don't love you. You will learn to love me, soon. He said in a husky voice. I could feel myself getting wet. I held the neck of my silk robe tighter. His smirk said he could smell my arousal quite well. Are you sure you want to be with me? I am not an 18-year-old impressionable school dropout. I have a mind of my own, I will not be able to mold myself according to you. What I mean is there are many beautiful women out there, more suitable for your needs. I rambled on and on, not sure if I was making much sense. What do you know about my needs? His words were dismissive of my claims. I don't, that's the point. I know nothing about you. So, how can I take care of you? Plus, I dislike the idea of belonging to someone. I am my person. I don't belong to anyone. You don't understand the mate bond, do you? There was a hint of frustration in his voice. When I say you belong to me, it's mutual. You own me as much as I own you. I would belong to you, only you, in a true sense. We would complete each other not as a master and slave, but as equal partners. My resolve was evaporating like vapors from boiling water. This beautiful specimen of a man would belong to me. The idea was quite appealing. It took me long enough to find you, how can I reject you now? The best part of me? I am not here to imprison you. You have your freedom to do whatever you want. His voice had gone low and husky. He said those words with such sincerity that my heart skipped, and my wolf was anyway drooling over him. I have a condition. I eventually gathered the courage to speak. Finally. And what is it? He leaned back, sitting straight and looking down at me. His arms folded. You won't mark me until I am ready. I know wolves don't wait, but I need more time, please. I said, almost pleading. The mate bond is incomplete unless the wolves mark each other. I would not be his official mate or Luna until that happened. I was uncertain if he would agree. I was taking a considerable risk. He frowned. That would be difficult, and it would raise questions. Why do you wish so? I just want to be certain, I mumbled incoherently. He scrutinized me for a few minutes, then finally said, all right, I won't mark you unless you permit me. I can't speak for my wolf though, once he takes over, I won't be able to control. I nodded. It meant we would have to avoid shifting while alone, otherwise, our wolves would take over. Having said that, it doesn't mean I will stop trying to entice you. His lips twitched into dimpled smile and my mouth went dry. I finally let go of the breath, which I had been holding until now. Now, I had to bid my time, and escape. Alice, I have one more condition, I said, finally feeling a tiny bit bolder. He sighed again. What is that? I sucked in a breath. I want to spend Christmas and New Year with my family. I have been doing so every year. Therefore, I am here. I should have stayed in London, I thought. Is it important for you? Yes, very significant, I said eagerly. As a Luna, your presence will be needed at the celebrations back in my place. My face fell. But I will make sure that you spend time with your family as well. Thank you, I started breathing again. He bent down again and tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. You don't need to thank me, I just want you to be happy. I want to take care of all your needs as if I can't take care of mine, I thought. Then, to my utter surprise, he kissed me on my cheek. It was not sensual, just a chaste kiss one would give to a friend or someone close. But it was enough to push me off the edge. I could barely breathe. I needed to rush out immediately, otherwise I was afraid I would end up tearing off his shirt. I need to go, I winced and backed away. Jumping off the chair. He slanted his head and regarded me with a smirk. Well, we are leaving in the next 20 minutes. Just collect your essentials. He raked me from top to bottom. Though I love the robe, I would prefer if you were dressed more appropriately for the travel. I blushed and ran out of the library. I did not stop until I had reached my room. My life was screwed. A few minutes later I was dashing around the room along with Emma, who was there to help. I changed into jeans and a white polo neck shirt. I wanted to be covered, as much as possible, especially when I was supposed to travel for hours with that green-eyed monster. Alice. You will be fine, relax, Emma assured me, your wolf loves him. He would never hurt you. She said softly. What about Mark? I asked Emma while looking at my diamond ring. He'll understand, you will have to break up with him. It is better for you eventually. I am not breaking up with him, I cut off Emma. Lucian will reject me, I will make sure of that, I said determinedly. Emma rolled her eyes, there you go again. Your mate is your gift, Alice, and the way you lunged at Rick. You are already possessive about him. Excuse me, that was my wolf, not me. I do not love Lucian. Lana growled inside me. You don't love Mark either, you are just fond of him. She pointed out. Why are you even going with Lucian? Just tell him you have a fiancé, who is a human that doesn't even know your reality. She snapped at me. That would start a bloodshed. I am trying to avoid mindless killings and solve this peacefully. Emma rolled her eyes. You want to be with Lucian, but you are too adamant to admit it. That's all. She smirked. I sighed. There was no point arguing with mated wolves, especially Emma. Lucian and Rick exchanged glares. If you hurt my sister, I will kill you, Rick said, his tone was serious. I will take better care of her, be assured. Lucian countered. They exchanged a curt nod as I was huddled in one of the waiting SUVs. It felt like I had prevented a war. Lucian slid next to me, and we started for God knows where. I could feel his eyes on me while I stared outside at the trees. You are not wearing a skirt today, he suddenly said. I flipped my head towards him. How does it matter what I am wearing? I like skirts, he grinned. Am I supposed to dress as per your whims? I won't mind that, he said pleasantly. Any other command? Your Highness. I asked sarcastically. How many robes do you have? He asked, his eyes raking me. Pervert. I muttered under my breath. I was going to regret it. I was suddenly pinned to the back of my seat. His face looming over mine. What did you call me? He asked through gritted teeth. Nothing, I lied and backed further in the seat. His main driver in front was unfazed as if he were used to such things happening in the car. He narrowed his eyes. I heard it. I have had enough of it. Pervert, I called you a pervert because that's what you are. I was seething in anger, and so was he. He held my cheeks a little too tightly for my comfort. I won't tolerate any insolence, I am your alpha, and you will show me respect. His eyes flashed with anger and his voice was gruff. I wanted to hurl some more adjectives but with my cheeks being squeezed I could not speak, so I simply glared at him. He pulled my lips to his and lightly brushed them. I wanted to avoid having another make-out session in the car, but after a few seconds of teasing, I gave up. His tongue began to probe into my mouth and allowed mine to meet response. I moaned involuntarily as he trailed a series of kisses down my neck. I arched my back against his chest. That is the thing with mate bonds, it is hard to resist. Once your mate touches you, your body starts responding as if on autopilot. The wolf slowly takes over. It only follows its animal instinct. He suddenly left kissing me, his lips were curled into that evil smile of his. "This is not over yet, you will be appropriately punished for your insolence." I was red-faced and angry over my stupidity. "Oh? Do I look like a 12-year-old?" He narrowed his gaze and his smile seemed to falter a little. "You want respect? Then earn it, Mr. Blake. It is not given freely," I said scathingly. He was furious, I knew it. That is what I wanted. Good for him. I congratulated myself. He did not say anything, instead looked ahead in the front. I realized the car had stopped moving. Did we arrive already? It was barely a 30 minutes ride. His pack could not be that near to mine. I looked out curiously and to my horror, I spotted a helicopter a little distance away. The two men exited the vehicle. The door opened, and I was being pulled out by Lucian. "What's all this?" I asked bewildered. "We'll fly to the Crimson Shadow Lands. It's faster this way, now come on," he said gruffly. I gaped at the black beast, its blades twirling. Emma was right, Lucian was indeed loaded. Alice, wow! My anger, resentment, and escape plans were on the back burner. I was busy staring at the tall, lush green trees. There were miles and miles of trees, much more than Jade Moon territory. "You like it?" Lucian asked, his green eyes reflecting the greenery below. "You have a river?" I exclaimed excitedly as I looked down at the blue ribbon of water snaking through the deep green. It was beautiful. Then I spotted the buildings. At first, they just appeared like a mass of grey and whites. There was a huge central courtyard, garden, whatever you might call it. The size of a football field. It was surrounded by buildings, several of them. The helicopter landed in this lush grassy courtyard. Avoiding the loud noise and the wind lashing around us, Lucian helped me climb out of the helicopter. The ride had been short, about 45 minutes. I guessed his minions would be arriving by road. The copter flew off. I bet Lucian had a hangar somewhere on the property. I took in my surroundings, and it left me breathless. There was a smattering of numerous buildings and houses of various sizes, but the centerpiece was the giant castle or a mansion, whatever you might call it. It was not old, but it was based on the Louis XIII style chateau, though it was not medieval looking. It was modernized. Surrounded by acres of forest, meadows, and pastures. A long driveway led through verdant parkland to the grand main residence. There was a French formal garden, graced with a water mirror. "That's where you live?" I asked aghast. Lucian was now smiling widely. "Yes," he replied. "That building is an architectural marvel. How old is that?" "It was built sometime in the 1900s by my grandfather. My grandmother was French. He wanted to make her feel at home." "Do you like it?" His curious eyes observed my face for my reaction. I nodded eagerly, still gaping at the marvelous building. "Say sensational," I replied. It drew a chuckle from him. I did not protest when he put his hand around me, gluing me to his side. "How many people live here?" I asked while looking at the houses around. 2,000, and several more who are not stationed here currently. They are living in the city or away at college," he replied, casually. Jade Moon was half the size of the Crimson Shadow. Wow! Your coronation ceremonies would be interesting. Coronation or acceptance ceremonies were held when a new Alpha or Luna was introduced to the pack. Every member familiarized themselves with their scent, and it lasted hours, even days depending on the pack size. I am glad that you are already planning the coronation, he said with a glint of humor in his eyes. I stiffened. Don't get your hopes high. It was just an observation. I snapped. He explained to me the other aspects of the property, like the orchards and vegetable garden, the school, and a stable. Charming little prince, aren't you? With your castle. I joked. He tilted his head and grinned at me, humor lighting up his green eyes. But it's empty without my princess. She keeps running away from me. I pouted, sad. Maybe you didn't try hard enough. Is it? What should I do? He asked, an amused smile crinkling at the corner of his lips. I don't know, possibly sweep her off her feet or something. I was flirting with him. Though I admit it was much better than fighting with him. Lana was happy, at least. She was tugging at my skin, ready to burst out. All right, he said and left my waist, stopping midway. Before I could fathom his intention, I was grabbed and hauled in his arm. My feet dangled, my head pressed into his chest. A quick bolt of fire shot through my body. Put me down, I was just kidding, I protested. No, I just swept you off your feet, he said huskily. A loud cheering caught my attention, and my eyes grew wider in surprise. It seemed like the entire pack has assembled outside. People were lining the driveway as Lucian walked on it. Few were standing near the massive entrance. God! You don't need to be so dramatic, just put me down, Lucian, I pleaded. The pack is loving it, let us give them a good show. He replied. He carried me with a flourish as if I was a trophy. It was useless to argue, so I simply stared down, wishing for the ordeal to end as soon as possible. I wrapped my hand around his neck to balance myself and not appear awkward. He pulled me more firmly against him, while my face burned with embarrassment. He stepped through the main door into a grand hall. There was an imperial staircase right in the middle of the room. The staircase split into two passages on the first floor, which was lined with the door. I assume they were bedrooms. The first floor had the biggest, state-of-the-art kitchen I had ever seen. And the dining hall was big enough to hold a banquet. The color theme was white and gold almost everywhere. Alpha, you are back with the bride, said one middle-aged lady, beaming at us. I scoffed and rolled my eyes. Bride? What? How have you been, Catherine? Lucian finally put me down, and I bristled in embarrassment. This is Catherine, she is the caretaker and in charge of this place. Lucian introduced me to the lady. There was another girl around my age. She had short red hair, her delicate features and large brown eyes gave her a pixie kind of look. She oozed with power. A beta, I thought. This is Savannah, she is one of the beta. I have some pack business to attend to. This is our home, he motioned to the huge area. Savannah is going to take you to my quarters. You can take a shower if you would like. Your luggage will arrive in a few hours, though some clothes will be brought to you. However, for the time being, you may not leave my quarters and do not go anywhere escorted. He lifted my chin with his finger. Do you understand me? I nodded numbly and tried to get my wits around me. Savannah bowed to me and said, pleased to meet you, Madame Luna. I greeted both Catherine and Savannah. They seemed nice. I could hear voices from the inside, but I did not see anyone. I climbed the staircase, following Savannah, who guided me to an ornate set of double doors on the third floor. A large man stood beside the doors, looking imposing. He had short black hair, cut military style. He moved his eye at me before politely bowing his head. Savannah nodded to the man as he opened the door. I did not have time to say anything because I was soon ushered inside. The room was warm and inviting, with a cozy fireplace in the sitting area. There were several comfortable-looking chairs near the fire. A large flat-screen TV sat in front of a full-sized leather couch. Numerous paintings and antiques decorated the area tastefully. These are Alpha Blake's private quarters. The bedroom and bathroom are through there. I will have food and clothing sent up for you. There will be a guard posted at the door. I nodded. Thanks, Savannah. How many people live here? Not many, about 30 of them. A few lone wolves, and staff. Rest all dwell all over the pack land in their houses or the hostel of the unmated. That's scarcely any people for such a big house, I commented. She smiled. Oh. It's always busy here, ever since the Alpha moved into this quarter. You won't feel lonely, I assure you. He didn't stay here before? I asked. No, Madame Luna, the previous Alpha used to stay in the house right behind this mansion. It is near the river front. Alpha Lucian moved here after he became the Alpha of the pack. It was easier to manage things from the pack house. Okay, I replied while processing this information. Thank you again, and please call me Alice, I smiled at her. Savannah beamed back at me. As you wish, madam. I mean Alice. These rooms are Alpha's domain, no one will bother you here. For now, stay inside the rooms, though, and don't go out. She motioned toward the bedroom. I wondered why everyone was keeping me indoors like a prisoner. Alpha's rooms have been protected against certain things with spells and of course the usual security, that prevents anyone from entering without access. She rambled on and on about various security measures while I zoned out and observed the room. I nodded. I had no interest in following this stupid order, but I was not going to make my life any more difficult than it was already. Savannah walked out the doors and closed them behind her. Alone inside the elegant suite, I walked from the sitting room into the large bedroom. I had no wish to go outside if I was safe here, and that is what Lucian wanted. The glass doors allowed faint sunlight to wash inside the room and give everything a golden glow. An enormous king-sized bed graced one wall of the room. The bed towered in the large space. I stepped up to it and took in the detail on the magnificent carved wooden posts that supported the heavy canopy above it. Piled high with large pillows, it was a bed, fit for a king. Shaking my head at the luxury, I walked to the bathroom and was again amazed. It was big and could have accommodated 15 people. A large walk-in shower adorned the back wall, and a jacuzzi tub sat quite prominently in the middle of the room. It is not like I was not used to luxury, Jade Moon was not poor, but this was over the top. The colors were all white and blue. Large mirrors covered most of the walls. The sink area was very Spartan. A second sink area was on the opposite wall. I was surprised to find boxes of deodorant and toothpaste, the same brand as mine. I picked up an unopened toothbrush and pondered over its significance. Lucian was sure I would end up here. I wondered what else he knew about me. That thought was frightening. The marble tile was cool under my feet as I kicked off my shoes and stripped down. Not being sure what to do with my clothes, I piled them on the counter. After my shower, I found a t-shirt, underwear, and sweatpants all in my size in one of the cupboards. There were other dresses and clothes as well, but I chose comfort. I had no interest in enticing Lucian. I looked at the clock on the wall, and it read at 5 p.m. With nothing better to do, I started exploring the suite. It was big with a study, gym, and a small kitchen of its own. I guess he did not eat in the general pack house. The study had an array of books ranging from fiction, business administration to mechanical engineering. I wondered who read all these. I arrived back in the living room and curled up on the couch, waiting for Lucian to come back. I woke up to the sensation of someone nuzzling my neck. "What are you doing?" I winced and immediately tried to move away. Only to realize I was pinned under him. Well, not exactly pinned. I had fallen asleep with my head on the headrest, and he was leaning over me to reach my neck. He was too heavy to shove off. I could only squirm under him. "Is this what you were looking for?" he whispered in my ear and continued nuzzling. "No, stop, you promised, you wouldn't mark me," I squirmed and turned away from him to avoid his lips. "I am not marking you, relax," he chuckled, and interlaced his finger with mine, pulling me down, so I was lying on the couch with his body bent over mine. Both my hands were pinned on either side of my head. My wolf Lana was ecstatic, and I was already wet, though I had to try my best to resist. "You said you won't do anything," I said flatly. "I made no such promise, princess. I said I will not mark you, which I will not. I never promised anything about not wanting you." His voice was laced with lust. I closed my eyes shut as he traced my jawline with his tongue. That made it even hard to resist. "What do you want?" I whispered, keeping my eyes shut. "You know what I want," he replied, "but I know you are not ready for that, quite yet," he said, as he slid over me, and placed a trail of kisses from my jawline to the neck, extracting a gasp from me. "Please stop," I whimpered, which came out more of a request than a command. "This is just the start, princess. I am yet to punish you for your insolence back in the car," he said silkily against my ears. My eyes flew open. "Wait, what?" I assumed he had forgotten all about it. "You are kidding," I said to him. His gaze roamed over my facial features, as if searching for vulnerabilities that I was attempting to hide. While my heart hammered, he seemed relaxed and wholly at ease, as if he were treating himself languidly to some diversion. "I am serious," he answered. "However, I am not unreasonable. If you entertain me well enough, I can be more merciful with your punishment." He offered a teasing look as if to convey the generosity of this sentiment. "Get off me!" I tried to push him off with all my might. "How rude, Alice! Is that how you show respect to your alpha? His grip tightened on my wrists until I felt bruises forming on them. You have disobeyed me, and there would be consequences for that lest you make a habit of it. He smirked while I looked terrified into those green depths. You would be punished, Alice. He drawled, lips curling into a cruel smile. I could barely believe I was almost cordial with him, a few hours ago, thanks to the thrilling helicopter ride, and then him carrying me so romantically. I tried to bury such thoughts away. I mean, what was I thinking? We would be living together, naturally, he would expect certain things. I was so obsessed with avoiding getting marked, I forgot about this. Us being intimate. My wolf was excited, being the pervert she was. I hated that a part of me was also turned on by the prospect. I was dripping wet already. Last time when he had, well, done things. The throbbing arousal that he had evoked despite my reluctance. I bit my lip, trying not to linger on the thought. You know you look very cute when you do that, he said silkily, his eyes glued to my lips. Seriously, what is this obsession with lip biting? I never got it. Aren't you being a bit dramatic? Can we just call for a truce and forget it? I tried to reason with him as I felt his hand slowly snaking under my shirt. His other hand held my wrists firmly. Dramatic? You almost killed me when you ran away from that service station. I wonder how you pulled that off. His eyes had suddenly turned darker, he looked dangerous. I have never felt so humiliated in my entire life. My mate running away from me, I wonder why. Lucian, please, though I was not sure what I was pleading for. Please, what, mate? I am sorry, I won't do it again, please stop. I pleaded. As eager as you are to apologize, he said, with an amused quirk of his lips, I've yet to punish you to my liking. Isn't that so? My heart's palpitations rose, I was suddenly free. He sat lazily, smiling down at me, then he stood up. Get up, he commanded. I blinked, unsure if he was serious or had some other game up his sleeve. Come on, I don't have all day, he said simply. I gave a glance at the clock. It was a little over 6 p.m. I had dozed off for almost an hour. I stood up facing him. He held me by my elbow and led me into the bedroom. I panicked. Lucian, please just let it go, just once. I tried to reason again. He turned to face me, and there was nothing apologetic about the gleam of desire in his eyes. You look as if you're about to face execution, he said, with a chuckle. What are you so afraid of? He sounded teasing rather than genuinely curious. I looked up at his face, tall and dark against the backdrop of a beige wall. Slowly, he brushed his knuckles against my cheek, quite softly. You may enjoy this. What could I even say now? Will that be of any use? You are not a virgin, are you? He suddenly asked. What kind of question is that? I asked, scandalized. Who in their right mind would ask that now? He gazed down at me and smiled wickedly. Now I'm curious though, you are certainly not a virgin, I can smell it. How many men have seen this beautiful body? The fury returned with a vengeance. How you feel if I was the one who was grilling you about your past life? He shrugged. Certainly, you can ask anything. There was this one woman in college. She was something, he said, rubbing his chin as if collecting a fond memory. The jealousy which coursed through me surprised me. I growled in anger. Stop it! I said through gritted teeth, breathing hard. He raised an eyebrow and stepped further as I backed into the wall. Jealous much? You don't feel like a woman who have known many men, certainly not a whore, he teased, gently holding my waist and pulling me towards him. My body crashed into him, sending tingling sensations down my spine. No, I am not a virgin. Does that make me or somehow inadequate? Am I not fit to be your Luna now? Because I will gladly accept your rejection. I was seething with anger. Why didn't I think of this earlier? Many alphas were very particular about getting a pure mate, even if they were whoring around. Hypocrites! If Lucian was like them, he would reject me easily. I hoped so, though my wolf was angry at the prospect. His gaze was intent and penetrating. Reject you? Why? I have already made it clear you are mine. He brushed my cheek with his thumb. Why would you be inadequate? You are perfect. He said softly, and with such conviction, that my heart skipped a beat. I wanted to avoid subjecting an innocent virgin to anything. Well, degrading. Good that we won't have that problem, and we can proceed on to the punishment. His voice was teasing, and that evil glint was back in his eyes. His fingers gripped my chin firmly, pulling my flushed face towards him and demanding in his soft, but unnervingly stern way, now undress. What no? I stammered out a protest. My face flushed. That steely gaze was back, and he left my waist, stepping back. It's a basic command, don't make me repeat it. He said impatiently. No. I am not doing it. I am not ready. I said, my hand instinctively going to my neck. Unfortunately, you do not have a choice, dear. I glared back at him. Undress, Alice, before I rip off everything. He folded his arms and gave me a warning look. His green eyes were enamored with desire. I wanted to follow his command. As if my wolf was urging me to submit and follow his command. She had already submitted to her alpha. But I had not submitted it. I know you want to do it, Alice, just obey me. He leaned back, against the wall, his hands folded. Go on, then, he ordered. And look at me while you do it. No, I said flatly. He sighed and started to move towards me. No, stop. I will do it. Myself, I squeaked. Nudity was not the problem. Doing so in front of my mate was the concern. I understood the intent behind this command. He wanted me to see who I was doing this for, and the entertainment it provided him. Alice, POV, I don't know what got into me. I stood silent and straight before him, nervous, the flush of my skin. Lucian finally moved from his position, but he did not approach me. Instead, he walked towards a dresser and picked up something. A whip? Some degrading toys? I had no idea what kind of sick person he was, but if he hurt me, I was not staying, no matter what. He returned carrying God knows what. His eyes fell on me again. I blushed under that heated gaze. My God! How lovely you are, he said almost to himself as he walked around me. I closed my eyes, biting my lip. Ah! What? I gasped. What are you doing? I said. Ouch! I cried out. He held me with my elbow. Do not move, without my permission, he hissed. Great! Now I am as pervert as my wolf. I thought. Now, you are going to tell me why you are being punished. His voice was low and stern, yet silky. I struggled to focus on him. For calling you a pervert, which you are, I hissed. His eyes narrowed into slits. He gripped my chin firmly with a slight tug, forcing it to look up. I rolled my eyes defiantly and stared back at him. That is not how you answer a question. Try again. He spoke. I gritted my teeth, doing my silent defiance. He signed, I yelped, and spat out, please stop. I will not call you that again. I am sorry. My breathing was ragged, and I had never been so turned on in my life. He relaxed the twist and continued. It is not good to disrespect your alpha, is it? No sir. Good girl, he drawled. Now you are going to explain why you ran away from me. He said in that same mocking tone. If I am not happy with your explanation, you'll have to give it more thought, and we'll repeat this tomorrow. I fidgeted, chewing on my lip. I didn't want a mate, I said softly. That I am aware, why don't you want me? I am your mate. You have to want me. I was scared that you would claim me, then force me to stay with you. So, I ran away. The clips seemed heavier and tighter with each passing moment. He sensed my discomfort and smiled. Well, you still ended up with me. I don't have my answer, yet, and it has been 5 minutes, he said. I don't know, I said dejectedly. Is that the best explanation you can give me? Looks like you enjoy wearing these clips, he said silkily, staring at my chest. Frankly, I think he could not take his eyes off them. He had been staring at them ever. I still don't have my answer. Do you want to be spanked instead? He smirked. No. Please no. I struggled to grasp. I am afraid that I might not like my mate, I might be forced to live according to him, and, I stopped, my mind raced with pleadings to remove the clips. He raised an eyebrow as if appalled by my explanation. I prefer not to be weak. If I lose my mate, I will go mad with grief or kill myself, as my mother did. I said softly, tears sprung in my eyes, not due to the pain. I was just overwhelmed with emotions. Furthermore, I had never told this to anyone. I felt him shift from his position. He gently removed the clips and pulled me into his arms. I cried quietly in his arms, burying my face into his shirt for comfort. Lucian POV, I overdid it. It was not supposed to end this way. I was just trying to bring her out of her shell, and spill out her fears, her secrets. Yet, I needed to take out my anger as well, but I wanted to avoid hurting her. Restraining myself was painful. Never had I come across a woman as beautiful as her. Who would have guessed, she kept a body like that hidden under those clothes? They were glorious. Don't do that again, Do not run away from me, I said, trying to keep my hands in the safe areas. Though nothing was safe considering. Thanks to my perverseness. Otherwise, what? She snapped, looking up from my chest. Her eyes were still streaming with tears. Otherwise, what? Lucian? You will tie me up? Is that your idea of gaining my respect and love? The idea was not bad, the image of her all tied up and ready was quite appealing. I shook my head, to dispel that thought. Alice! It is not like that. I am your mate, do not deny your attraction. I know it's there. She squirmed to come out of my embrace, I released her, the pain of losing that skin contact hit my wolf and me instantly. Jake groaned in mourning. Yes, I know we are mates. So what? Does it mean I must crawl at your feet? Or degrade me to live according to your perverse ideas? I ran my hand through my hair, mainly to keep them off her and to keep my eyes away from that lovely rack. Alice, you very well know that you want me, your arousal can be sniffed by every single male in this building. I don't know why you are denying it. I barely know you. How can I sleep with you? She said, folding her hands. We are wolves, Alice, that is how things are done among wolves. We find our mates, we copulate then mark each other and that is it. If we were incompatible, we would not be mates. But if you want to do it humanly, then fine. We will do it that way. What do you want me to do? Go on a date? Jake, my wolf, was as confused as me. He had no idea about human sensibilities. Currently, he was urging me to claim her, and it took all my willpower to keep myself in check. Now, I would like to get dressed. I can't have a conversation like this. She flushed. I nodded, and I agreed, I would not be able to hold myself for long either. I am going to take a shower, we'll go down for dinner after that, or would you prefer it in the room? I would like to have it with others. She replied immediately as if my company sickened her. You should have claimed her, she would become nice to you then. My wolf said to me. Shut up, Jake, I said to my wolf as I proceeded to take a cold shower. Alice, I hugged myself and took a few short deep breaths, as Lucian left to shower. I was fuming and turned on all at the same time. Only someone like Lucian could do both, making me angry and horny at the same time. I got dressed and was contemplating what to do with myself when he emerged from the shower shirtless and wearing a pair of pajama pants. Darn it! I thought. Well, are you ready yet? He asked casually while I tried not to stare, drool or lunge at him. I am ready, I replied. He stared at me for a few seconds, then strode towards me. You are going to drive all the males crazy down there, you reek of arousal. He said, with a taut face. I can't help it, I mumbled incoherently. Yes, you can, but you are stubborn, he replied, then ran his hand through his hair. He smelled wonderful, musky with a hint of mint. His wet hair was falling on his forehead and I had an urge to push them behind, but of course I refrained. Should I take a shower? I asked. Are you even a wolf? He asked, rolling up his eyes. Come here, he commanded. Before I could understand, he grabbed me and pressed his lips on mine. I felt myself back into the wall as he pressed himself fully against my body. His skin felt so good. It was not a ravaging kiss, simply comforting. I wrapped my hands around his neck and my mouth opened magically when his tongue grazed my lips, allowing him to deepen the kiss. Slowly, he began to thrust his tongue in and out of my mouth, it against mine. His hands slid down my neck, behind my neck to thread his fingers into my hair, the other traveling slowly down. Despite my plan to be aloof, his kiss ignited a deep hunger in me and provoked the wolf within. Maybe, it was my wolf forcing me to respond. I did not care. My mind was too woozy. His hand slid further down to wrap possessively around me, crushing me into him even more. His lips trailed down my neck, leaving a blazing fire wherever it went. I struggled to form a thought, let alone keep one. Automatically, I started, rubbing myself against his thigh. Understanding my unspoken need, he hitched my left leg to wrap around his hip. Leaning into me, he ground himself. I gasped when I felt his hand going inside the waistband of my track pants. I quickly attempted to escape the suggestive position we were in. This was getting out of hand. But it was not feasible to escape that vice-like grip. I held him right, digging my nails in his back. I could not breathe and tore my mouth away from him to catch some breath. It is possible if you know how to do it right, and Lucian was a master of it. My head shook back and forth as wave after wave brought my entire being up. He stepped back from me, breathing raggedly, looking at me with those green eyes. Though our bodies were no longer touching, he leaned forward on his hands placed on the wall at either side of my head. I was pleased to see he was also as breathless as me. It took us a moment to compose ourselves. "How do you feel now?" he asked, brushing my hair with his hand. How did I feel? Like a cheater? Slutty? Someone with zero self-control. "I am fine," I replied, turning red. His lips quirked into a smile. "Just fine?" I was expecting more. "Lucian, I am starving. Can we please leave now?" "I don't know what this," I flushed, making out achieved. "You are not marked, Alice. You must carry my scent so that everyone knows you are mine. It's for your protection." He slanted his head to one side, "And you were enjoying it." He grinned. I blushed furiously, placing my hand on his chest. I tried pushing him away. "All right. You win, can we get out of this room now? Please." I knew where this would end if we stayed alone for too long. I felt a little nervous walking out of Lucian's rooms for the first time. We were greeted by 3 men outside the door. I did not recognize anyone. They all bowed their heads and 2 held the post, the 3rd trailed behind us on the stairs. I wondered if they would keep following us around. I recognized the large lobby with its ornate marble floors we had come in during the day, and again I heard voices, but no one was there. Walking through a set of open double doors, the voices stopped abruptly. I had been told the pack numbered in thousands and I had seen the crowd when I had arrived, but I did not expect the dining area to be this crowded. The room looked like a large banquet hall. Jade Moon Pack had similar halls. Sitting around the round tables were countless people. Men, women, and the small scattering of children all stopped what they were doing and turned to stare at me. I held on to my best smile and looked around, trying to think of anything to calm me down. I saw Savannah in the crowd waving madly at me, so I tried to focus on her. Is it always this crowded? I mumbled to Lucian. No, it's usually boring. I guess they are all here to see you. Generally, most people dine in their homes. I looked around, almost in a panic. Crimson Shadow Pack, I present to you my mate, and your new Luna, Alice Anderson of the Jade Mood Pack. Lucian started with a flourish. A cheer rose from those assembled, and I heard a significant amount of howling. I could also see a few heads shaking with surprise. As you know, there have already been attempts to kidnap her, he continued. And she had been living in England, hence unaware of our rules. I wanted to raise an eyebrow at him, but I kept a smile on my face, wishing I could just sink into the floor. She will not be available to mingle freely with you until the guilty has been caught, and I have found out the real culprits, he persisted despite obvious grumbling in the crowd. Please continue to be on your guard and do not hesitate to report strange activity to Beta Damon or his officers, he motioned to the man who stood up, as did several other men. I had seen Damon with him earlier, during the rescue, and when he came to the Jade Moon Pack, but I did not know he was Lucian's beta. Tonight, we celebrate and enjoy good food and family, he finished with a flourish. The crowd cheered and howled again until a woman spoke out. Sorry to interrupt Alpha, but why isn't she marked by you? I could feel Lucian moving next to me, his face hardened as he turned towards the blonde woman. She was beautiful and looked around my age. Though, a jealous smirk marred her beautiful face. That's none of your business, Eliza. It's something which mates decide. Lucian replied coldly. The woman bowed slightly and moved back. Lana was itching to come out and throttle that woman. A low growl escaped from my chest, surprising me. Lucian's arm was already around me, and he gently stroked my arms, whispering, "Easy, sweetheart, easy." A smile played on his lips. This is so annoying, I said to myself. Alice, POV, we moved slowly to a table in the middle of the wall at the other end of the hall. Those we passed all bowed their heads. I noticed that after we had gone by, most of them raised their noses and scented the air. Realizing everyone we walked past knew what Lucian and I had just done upstairs was embarrassing. I was blushing deeply by the time we reached our table. The conversation at our table was pleasant. I was seated with Catherine and Savannah. Several other girls and ladies were sitting with me alongside the long table. The dinner was terrific: steaks, roasted chicken, vegetables, pasta, salads, literally everything one could wish for, and I consumed them with gusto. Lucian was busy talking to some other people on the other side of the room, so I was quite on my own. Except for the fact that I was being interrogated by curious girls. The one sitting opposite me was barely 18, and she was staring at me with awe. As if I was some celebrity. I smiled at her politely. She beamed. Madam Alpha, I heard you are from England. I have never been there. What kind of place is it? She asked. I could sense, Lucian, glancing at us. Of course. He could hear us. Wet and cold mostly, if you mean the weather. Otherwise, it is a great place, with many old manors and castles. I smiled. Wow! Have you met the queen? The girl asked, her eyes wider with wonder. I nearly choked on my drink. No, the queen is not very approachable, I am afraid. But I did see the royal wedding, I winked at her. The girl nearly fell off her chair. Wow! Was it fun? She asked. I don't think so because I wasn't invited. I joked. The girl giggled along. How many years have you lived there? And are there any wolf packs there? Another girl asked. By now, the entire table was looking at me curiously. I guess they all wanted to know about their Luna. Well, I was in Australia until I shifted for the first time. I was 13 then. My aunt immediately left for Europe after my first shift. Why is that? The girl asked. Because Australia does not have any wolves, the nearest thing they have are dingoes, so when I shifted for the first time, and I was small then, the local papers carried the news about someone spotting a dingo in the town. A wolf roaming in Sydney would be hard to explain. I laughed along with others. And in Australia, everyone will be your mate, I added. Why so? They asked. Mate is a slang term for a buddy or a friend. So if any Australian calls you a mate, don't assume that he or she is your real mate. The table burst into laughter. I stole a glance at Lucian. The hint of a smile on his face indicated he was pleased. How did you live in England all by yourself? I mean there are no wolves, right? Savannah asked. My aunt owns a giant estate, so I could shift and let my wolf run around. There are a few lone wolves there, but no wolf packs. Mainland Europe has a few wolf packs, but it's mostly full of vampires, I stated. Have you met a vampire? The young girl sitting opposite me asked. I contemplated my answer. Yes, a few times. They don't like us. Madam Alpha, have you traveled like? Everywhere? Another girl asked. I was enjoying this. No one had ever asked me about my adventures, not that I had many. Depends on your definition of everywhere. I have traveled entire Europe, and parts of Asia. What about South America? Are there wolf packs there? No, South America has only shape-shifting cats, and they are very territorial, they hate us as well. The girls giggled again. I could see a look of respect in their eyes when I explained my qualification, my job. They were nice girls. The conversation was not just one way. I learned a few things about the Crimson Shadow Pack as well. Historically, the alphas of this pack was not known for their kindness. Lucian was no exception. The pack location was midway between the businesses held in town and a dockyard. It was convenient for all involved. They had a giant territory of land, most of it was a forest, so it allowed plenty of room for the wolves to run around. Everyone had a job, either in the city, under various businesses owned by Lucian or back in the pack. Behaviors varied in different packs, depending on the alphas. Some packs were very Puritans, some hypocrites, where they allowed the males to screw around but put restrictions on females. I got the impression that they were living in hell. No one cared who was going out with whom unless they found their mates. Mates usually do not cheat, they just cannot because the partner would come to know, and it would hurt them. That hurt would be felt by the one who cheated as well, so it just did not happen. There were rare exceptions, but generally mates stay loyal to each other. Same relationships were not looked down upon, here. Alpha Lucian is very accepting of gay wolves, giggled Catherine. He's welcomed in several pack members who have been cast out of other packs. Not all packs. I smiled, I was glad we agreed on that. At least Lucian was not a conservative alpha like I had anticipated. Lucian, POV, I watched and heard Alice talk about her life. I could not help listening to her. She was fun, witty, and when she laughed, it was everything. The youngsters seemed to hang on to her words. Most Lunas came about to be extremely sheltered, trained to become wallflowers. Alice was different, agreed she had more dominant human tendencies and sentiments than her wolf, probably because she had kept her wolf under control most of her life. It was something I could live it. I was falling more and more in love with her. So, Madam Alpha, why were you sent away from your pack? Eliza, there she goes again, I thought. Eliza was playing with fire, I had to stop her. I strolled towards Alice, to stand behind her. I know she felt my presence because her shoulders relaxed. I lost my father in they were wars, and my mother died of grief. I was just 9 and couldn't bear the trauma. My Aunt Flora offered to take me away for a change. She is a keeper. And that is how I went to live with her. She explained. I knew her history in parts. They were war was devastating for many, including me. I felt a surge of sympathy for her. How unfortunate, but you could have returned earlier. I mean, why did you continue to stay away? Catherine asked. Even I was curious about it. My brother wanted to call me back after I shifted for the first time, but Aunt Flora is very fond of me. She didn't let me go, Alice explained with a smile. I just continued to live with her, and that's how I liked it. She added. Something was missing, Rick, and I might not be on good terms, but I respect him as an alpha. He would not leave his sister alone unless there was a reason. I needed to find out why. That's somewhat unfair. Had you stayed here you would have met Alpha Lucian earlier, and we would have got you as our Luna much earlier. One of the juvenile girls commented. I could not help smiling. The kid was right. Had I known my mate was a continent away I would have searched the world for her. I looked at the watch. It was about time to break the party. But before I could interrupt, Eliza had fired another query. If you don't mind, can I ask you, how did your father die? My head snapped towards her and I glared at her. She took the hint and bowed, but it was already too late. Alice was upset, I could tell. Her breathing had become short. I placed my hand on her shoulder and gave a gentle squeeze. I don't remember much. I was in New York with my father before. When the war started. Somehow, I had run out of my room, and I was found unconscious under a pile of rubble, protected by a table. I do not remember anything else. Alice said while I looked on in shock. That little girl was Alice. She was there, we had met before, but she did not remember me. She had no idea that we had hidden under the table in a conference room trying to survive in that mayhem. I often wondered what happened to that little girl. I looked at Alice in a new light. That girl was all grown up, and she was my mate. Alice's POV. I felt Lucian's presence behind me as soon as Eliza had spoken up. I admit I was glad he was there. Lena, my wolf was suddenly on the edge, and Eliza's questions did not make things easier. Somehow, I was never comfortable talking about Dad's death. The people in my pack knew it, but here it was a different ball game. People were going to ask a question. Sorry to interrupt, but your Luna is now tired. So, it's time we break the party. Lucian announced as he placed his hand on my shoulder, gesturing me to leave. Though I enjoyed the dinner, I was glad to leave. My eyes were drooping. I did not realize I was tired. I was ushered back into the Alpha quarters soon after. You were great, Lucian said while smiling at me. I enjoyed it too, I beamed, which was a genuine answer. Did you meet vampires in Europe? He asked while sitting on the couch and pulling me next to him. I laughed. Aunt Flora has many friends, including a few vampires. Those I met were the friendly ones. One of her neighbors is this 600-year-old baron who is a vampire. Interesting, he looked genuinely curious. We talked about general things. He was quite nice when he was not trying to dominate me or get into my pants. About Eliza, I am sorry you had to face those prying questions. I know you were uncomfortable. It's okay, I am not upset. I leaned back against the backrest. It's just that I don't remember anything. He turned to look at me with a slanted face. Nothing at all? Someone you met or who saved you? No, I wish I did. I just recall running through the smoke, and then nothing. The psychiatrist who counseled me said I have repressed memory. For some reason, he looked quite disappointed. I am sorry for whatever happened to you, he said quietly. What was I supposed to say? That your dad was involved in killing my father? But it is okay, I am forgiving you. Yes, please forgive him and ask him to go hell, I am getting desperate. Lana said to me. I jerked away from his hand and stood up immediately. I am tired, I am going to bed. He gave a sly smile and leaned back into the couch, placing his hand behind his head. Sure, you know where the bedroom is, I will join you in some time. Wait, what? We'll sleep in the same bed. No, this was not going to end well. I thought. I was not aware that England was still Victorian. Where else are you going to sleep, love? He asked sarcastically. I looked around. He did not have a spare bedroom. One of the rooms was converted into a study and another one into a gym. It was a typical bachelor's pad. I don't know, you don't have a spare room in this giant mansion. He stood up and towered over me. There are 100 rooms in this building, most of them unoccupied, but you are going to sleep here, and that is an order. I narrowed my eyes at him, and who are you to order me? You are not my alpha. Will that make any difference? He moved his head to one side. And I realized how big he was, how his biceps bulged out of his T-sleeves. No, don't think about it, I reminded myself. You can't force me to. His lips twitched, and he raised an eyebrow. Force you to do what, Alice? I knew I was turning red. We are not having relation, that's it. I finally blurted out. He burst into laughter, making me want to bury myself in the ground if that was possible. Who said anything? I just asked you to come to bed, I am not going to leave you alone in some room because it might be unsafe. What are you afraid of? Me or yourself? I looked up in those green eyes. I am not afraid of you. I don't want you to be afraid of me. He brushed a strand of hair behind my ear. Why do guys do that? However, that does not mean you can disrespect me. He said in a steely voice. When did I disrespect you? If you are talking about that pervert comment and me dumping you at the service station. Haven't we already gone through your... I fumbled for the appropriate words. Whatever it was, what else did I do now? I folded my hands to put some distance between us and avoid touching him. It would be disastrous. Nothing yet, but if the pack comes to know that their Luna and Alpha are not sleeping together, won't it be bad for my reputation? I am not your Luna. I am not even sure if I would accept to be your Luna. I didn't even want to be here. I don't even like you. I was seething with anger again. Is that so? What else do you think of me? He purred. I try not to, I stated flatly. Oh really? Even if I do this? He asked, as he placed both of his hands on the sides of my face, pulling me against his moistened lips, his tongue pushing past my lips, pressing against his own. I was momentarily stunned, as a kiss was the last thing I thought he would do. However, when I felt my hand going around his neck and tugging his hair with my fingers, I finally broke away from the kiss. My wolf protested. I gasped, and my body jerked slightly against his touch. He laughed, causing me to blush even darker if it were possible. Your body desires this, Alice, even if you pretend that you do not, he said, as he rubbed my cheeks with his thumb. That is a lie, I moaned. Wait, I was moaning? We shall see about that then, shall we? He queried, as he pressed against my lips again. This time, his lips slipped right against mine, no resistance at all, but he must have felt me tense up. Nonetheless, my breath caught in my chest. His hands moved down my back, grabbing me, pulling me close so that our bodies were glued together. I responded by touching his jawline, his slight stubble brushed against my palm. My other hand went to his nape. I was not thinking. I do not know after how long he broke the kiss. You see this, mate? He said, as he withdrew and stared in my wide-eyed stare, his eyes gleaming with desire. You want me to touch you? Your body does not lie, he said, as he brushed my lower lip with his thumb, but his finger did not linger. I had no answer. My body was aching to be taken, and my mind was urging me to run away as far as possible. It's due to the mate bond, it's not me. Do you think a woman means yes just because you can provoke and draw out a physical response with your well-trained caresses? A body can respond to anyone's touch, given its skill. It is the heart you must conquer, not the body. I folded my arms obstinately. He took a step back. All right, challenge accepted, I will capture your heart as well, Alice. Now come to bed, I am not going to do anything. We'll just sleep unless you don't trust yourself. His devilish smile was back. I stood for a minute, biting my lips. Do not do that, he said. I could see he was breathing heavy. Okay, let's go to bed, I am too tired to argue with you, I mumbled and walked into the bedroom. Lucian kept his promise, and we did nothing. Rather, I dozed off soon after I landed on the bed, my exhaustion finally caught up. I woke with a start at about 8 a.m. The spot beside me on the bed was empty. The disheveled state of the bed and the sheets stated that he had left the bed recently. I felt quite lonely and disappointed, as if I was expecting him to wake me up. The bathroom door suddenly opened, and Lucian stepped out showered and shaved, a towel tied low, very low on his waist. I had seen him before, but it was always intimidating to see his perfectly sculpted body. He smirked with the "like what you see" look, and I realized I was gawking. I turned away, averting my eyes. He talked while he got ready. "I have things to take care of today, love," Lucian said, throwing the towel away casually, giving me a glorious view of his bum. I turned a deeper shade of red, even though I am a werewolf and used to male nudity. He dressed in crisp shirt and slacks. "I expect you to stay in my rooms and listen to Savannah and Damon. I have asked a few trusted female members of the pack, they will teach you about the pack." "Am I allowed to go out at all? Can I even talk to anyone?" I asked sarcastically. "You are not a prisoner, Alice. Just that I am trying to keep you safe. Please do not go anywhere alone and obey instructions. As it stands now, you have no rank here currently, and that puts you in a rather interesting no man's land." I glared at him. "Do you need anything?" He looked at me while buckling his belt. I need a phone because I lost mine and didn't get time to buy another one, and I need to catch up on some work. Do you have Wi-Fi?" He nodded. "You'll get a phone, and Damon will help you with setting up the Wi-Fi access." He came near the bed and leaned forward, placing a kiss on my forehead. Before I could come out of the shock, he had walked off briskly. I whispered, trying to catch my breath. I wandered around his suite for a while, and just when I was wondering about the food there was a knock at the door. Savannah and Catherine arrived, along with another woman, who appeared around my age. They scented the air. Each woman was carrying a tray covered with plates. My stomach growled hungrily, and the smaller woman laughed. "He's not feeding you enough." "Good day, Madame Luna, I'm Rain," the latest woman who had arrived said. She added quickly, "I am sure he fed you very well, just not the food." "Rain." Savannah gave her a reprimanding look. "I talk a lot, it gets me in trouble sometimes, but I was human before Damon changed me. I guess that's why I'm here." Rain giggled a little at her last statement. "You are Damon's mate?" I looked curiously at the new arrival. I got the feeling she probably giggled a lot. She looked like a pixie with short pink-colored hair and bright blue eyes. Her clothing was a bright array of red and blue. I smiled at her as politely as I could. "I'm famished. You're correct about that. Please call me Alice, this Madame Luna is too formal." She grinned back at me. The women set down the trays, and I was surprised to see the spread. Bacon, sausages, grilled mushrooms, tomatoes, hash browns. The full English breakfast. "I thought you would like this since you are from England," Catherine said. I smiled. I used to just grab a toast on my way to the office, never made so much food for myself. "Thank you, I appreciate your effort," I said. "Why don't you all join me? I can never finish all this." "Oh no. That would be rude, we cannot possibly eat here." With you. Savannah said. Oh. Come on, I hate eating alone, as your alpha has already dumped me. So, please, I insist. They conceded after some cajoling, and I was soon stuffing myself with food. Whoever was the cook, bless their soul. It was incredibly good. My stomach felt full to bursting. I was glad of having them there. It gave me something else to focus on. So, tell me something about your alpha. I know nothing about him, I asked. They glanced at each other as if discussing among themselves, which I am sure they were, mentally, of course. He is very kind and good, our pack has never seen a better day, financially. But he has been alone for so many years. He was difficult in the last 2 years. He had been waiting for you for 10 years. I looked down. Well, it was not my fault that I was in England and never met him. You never tried looking for your mate? Savannah asked. I did. I even attended a few mating balls when I was here for vacations, but I think some things happen when they are supposed to happen. How romantic! Rain said, giving a big grin. Anyway, I am glad you are finally here. Alpha had to deal with a lot of crap, since he was 17, and the condition of his mother. The rain stopped, putting her hand on her mouth. Catherine gave her a stern look. I was curious, his mother was still alive? He never talked about her. His mother? What happened to his mother? It's better if Alpha talks about her himself, Catherine said in a no-nonsense manner. But I am really curious now, please tell me about her. He won't take any action against you, I promise, I spoke. All right, Catherine conceded. Luna Lorraine was a very gentle, sweet lady. She was loved by all. After Alpha Albert, Lucian's father died. She was heartbroken and remained isolated. She does not meet anyone, nor ever comes out of her home. The previous home of the Alpha. I felt a pang of sympathy for Lucian, he went through almost the same trauma as me. So, she stays alone. She is not in the right mind, she suffers from dementia, there are people to take care of her and Alpha visits her sometimes, but she doesn't recognize anyone. Even if she does, she remains in the past. I am sorry to hear that, I had no idea how to respond to this piece of information. I also learned that Lucian had a younger sister who was a doctor, she had found her mate and had moved as the Luna of the Red Pack. So, that explained Lucian's presence at that beach house party where I met him for the first time. I was somewhat glad when the women left, I enjoyed their company, but I also needed time to process all this information. Damon had configured my laptop and given me a new phone. The rest of my day passed in catching up with the emails and transferring contacts, closing my credit cards which I had lost along with my purse. When I was assured of being alone, I wandered into Lucian's study and called Mark. My heart was thumping with nervousness. I was not sure what was I supposed to say to him. Hey baby, where have you been hiding? I was worried about you. He said in his typical soothing voice. I closed my eyes, I felt terrible, I was uncertain if I was cheating on him or Lucian. It was all muddled up. I am fine, Mark, I had lost my phone, and we need to talk. Sure, tell me everything all right. He sounded concerned. Yes, I I am visiting one of my aunts here, she lives in this wilderness and I won't be reachable to you. Please, don't worry if you are unable to reach me. I lied, I could not explain this new complication on the phone. Sure, dear, I will miss you, I wish you were here. Miss you too. I ended the call just before I heard the clicking of the door. Lucian was back. I prayed that he did not hear anything. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.